Hello everyone, welcome again. In this software testing tutorial, we are going to learn about what is test plan. Now, before we understand what exactly is test plan, I'll explain in general why planning is important and what a plan is. Now, I'll take an example of say you are building your house, so you have bought the land and you are building the house. Before building the house, there are a lot of planning activities that in general happen, right? So you have the floor plan made, and then based on that floor plan, there are other planning that needs to happen before you actually start putting the slab and then putting bricks and building the walls, right? So why does it happen that when you are building the house, you plan it first? The reason is, say for example, you are having a piece of land, and say for example you start building the slab altogether. Okay, so you have laid down the slab on the overall area, and after that you realize that you forgot the plumbing work. Okay, so plumbing needs to go beneath your house and it needs to be planned properly. So these are some of the issues that happen if you do not plan your work properly. So planning in general is very important. So when we build the house, we build the plan, and plan covers all the small things, and it helps you to basically give a bit of thought what all needs to go there. There needs to be plumbing, there needs to be electrical work, how electrical work will happen, where, based on like the floor plan, where the bathroom will be, where the kitchen will be, what all plumbing and electrical connections need to go in each of those rooms. That all is defined in your normal house plan, right? Now when we talk about the test plan, it is no different with any other planning activity. So when you are building the house, you build a plan to build the house. When you are doing software testing, you build or you create a plan to basically mention or identify what and how you are going to test a particular software, right? So planning gives you a predefined or gives you a guidance to basically analyze what you are going to test and how you are going to test. Okay, so there are a lot of templates available, and the organizations customize these templates accordingly, so as per their needs. But in general, test plan template, this is IEEE template sections. These are the key sections that need to be included in the test plan. So we have understood about the general plan and planning. So planning is important. Without planning, if you start actually doing some work, you are going to end up in some sort of trouble, or you might be forgetting something. But if you have proper plan in place, then you give it a thought about the software testing module that you are going to test, or the overall software that you are going to test, and based on that testing or the thought that you have given in that particular plan, you define all the activities that need to go in that plan step by step, right? So if we talk about the test plan, what all needs to go into the test plan. So test plan is specific to software testing, and in the test plan we have the first thing is test plan identifier. Now when we talk about test plan identifier, it is something a document identifier. Say for example you write something TP underscore, and then say for example your project name or initials are ABC, and then you start 01 or something. So this is something you basically provide the name of the plan, so that anybody who is seeing can easily understand that this is test plan of this particular project in the organization, right? So test plan identifier is identifier of that particular document that you will be creating as part of the project. Then in the introduction section, as the name suggests, you will introduce what this plan is all about, right? So which particular module or which particular application this particular test plan, the document that you will be writing, will be handling or will be testing for. So introduction about the project, and some of the details about the project. So a couple of statements there in the introduction section, so that if anybody reads that introduction section, he or she can understand what exactly the plan is all about. Okay. Then you have the test items. So this is another important thing. So what this will guide you is when you identify the items or the testing items, what this means is all the features that you are going to test, right? So high level, features or the requirements, right? So if you have the requirements or the features, so there will be like high level features. So for example, if I'm testing e-commerce website, then what all features need to be built as part of the release 1 or release 2, and then you include those features. So for example, login functionality, so you mention login with some of the details, then you mention registration. So high level functionalities that you are going to test as part of the application, you provide those details in the test item section of the plan. Then you have the features to be tested and features not to be tested. These two are also very important sections of the plan. And in features to be tested, you mention or you write down all the features that need to be tested. So for example, here we have already included the test items as such. Now we have to basically elaborate what all features of these items, right? So in this case, say for example, test items are login or registration or any of the details. So what all features among those items need to be tested. Okay, so whatever items you are mentioning here at the test item level, then you elaborate what all features within those items or high level modules that you have mentioned here in the test items need to be tested here, right? So those all details will go into features to be tested. Then features not to be tested is also very important, because you need to upfront analyze what you are going to test and what you are not going to test, right? So this gives you a clarity that when you are starting to execution phase, then you know what you are going to execute and what is basically required as part of the test execution, right? So you mention whatever features need to be tested in the features to be tested, features not to be tested in the features not to be tested section. Then the approach is another very important section, and you will spend a lot of time on approach, because approach changes based on the type of application or project that you're working in, right? So for example, you are testing a banking application, the approach will be different, and if you are testing an e-commerce application, approach will be different. And in approach, what mainly goes is how you are going to test a particular application, what all interfaces are there, what techniques you are going to apply, what will be the test levels, etc. So all those details go into approach, right? So you have to think about the particular product or application, and then based on that particular application or product, you define the approach or test approach for that particular application. Then you have item pass and fail criteria. So when an item will be considered, or a particular module or feature will be considered as pass or fail. Say for example, I have a module or a feature which has 15 test cases, and when all those 15 test cases are executed, there are 2 test cases failing which have low priority defects still attached to it, right, or still open. Then in the item pass and fail criteria, define what are the criteria which mark the item as pass or fail. So in the pass criteria, you can mention that, and this is all as per discussion with the stakeholders or the members of the team. So in the item pass criteria, you can mention that no severity 1 and 2 defects open. Even if there are low priority or low severity defects still open, if they are accepted, we can still mark the item as pass, right? So these are some of the statements that need to go into item pass and fail criteria. When we say item fail, you can say if there is any severity 1 defect or severity 2 defect that is identified for a particular feature, then that is failed, or that test case is failed. So any pass or fail criteria that can be defined need to go into item pass and fail criteria. Then you have suspension and resumption criteria. So suspension, as the name suggests, when will you suspend the testing, right? So for example, you got a blocker defect and the testing cannot progress further, or you got a defect which needs to be fixed, because unless and until that defect is fixed, all the testing that is done in future or further, it doesn't make any sense. So in that case, you will suspend the testing. So any criteria that need to be identified and discussed with the team, which will block the testing, need to go into the suspension section. And resumption is when you are going to resume. Say for example, testing got blocked because of these and these defects. Once those defects will be fixed and verified successfully, we will resume our testing as per plan, right? So all those things will go into suspension and resumption criteria. Okay, so these are the 8 sections. Now coming to the 9th one, so this is test deliverables. So what you will deliver as part of the testing. So you will deliver test cases, scripts, plan, if there are any automation scripts that you are doing, all those deliverables, whatever deliverable has been agreed, you deliver, or you mention that as the test deliverables. Okay, then you have the testing tasks. What all tasks will be required to perform all the activities. So what all testing tasks will be involved in the overall testing life cycle. Then in the environmental needs, what is the environment? So Windows server is required, you need to install something, what software version, what hardware version, how many OS is required, if there is any tool specific tool required, any automation tool required, what test management tools. So any specific test environment related needs that need to be available before you can actually start testing needs to go into environmental needs section. Then in the responsibility section, who is responsible for what within the team, right? So what test manager will do, what test lead will do, what a person within a particular testing team. Say for example, I am the API tester, or person who has expertise in the API testing, so I'll be focusing more on the API related stories. So any responsibilities or specific responsibilities that need to be defined will go into the responsibilities section. So test manager, test lead, any team member, what all responsibilities are there for each of the team member will go into the responsibilities section. Then if there are any staffing and training needs required, then you will basically mention that into the staffing and training needs. So how many people are required to basically achieve this particular project or finish the testing. If there are any training needs, say for example, I am going to use the new tool or new test management tool for which the team is not a team is fairly new for it, then we'll have a brief training session for it. If there is any automation tool that is required, we can have training session for that. How many people will be required to perform that overall testing will go into the staffing section. Schedule is basically like the timeline of the overall test activity will go into the schedule. Then any risk and contingencies will go into the risk and contingency section. In risks, you mentioned, say for example, what will happen if something goes wrong within the test life cycle. Say for example, team members get sick, is there any contingency plan for that? If there is a blocker defect that has stopped or suspended our testing for 3 days, what all risks are possible in the overall testing life cycle will go into the risk and contingency section, right? And then approvals will have the name of the approvers who will be approving this overall plan. Okay, so project manager, test manager, mostly this test plan is written either by test manager or test lead with the input from the overall team, if the team is there, otherwise from the experience of that a particular person, whosoever is test lead and test manager. And then they will be providing the details of all the people who are going to approve this plan, right? So whatever has been documented in this plan, like this is what we are going to test, these are the features, this is how we are going to test, who is going to test, this is the schedule, how it looks like, and these are the dates when we'll finish our work, right? So these are the key sections, or key 16 sections as per IEEE test plan template, which will be found in any test plan that you pick. So it will be, it doesn't matter which organization you go, you will find these sections in every place. There might be a difference in naming convention or the terminology that they use, but these sections will definitely be there, along with some more sections if it is relevant for that particular project or specific to that project, right? So these are some of the these are key sections of a test plan that will be there and should be there in any of the test plan. And test plan, once you write this, it will guide your thought process, how you are going to approach the testing for a particular project or application, right? Same analogy as building the house. If you do not have the plan and you haven't thought about how you are going to perform plumbing or electrical work prior to building the rooms and roofs, then in software testing term, it's similar. So you have to give a thought upfront to basically how you are going to lay your foundations, how you are going to approach testing to that particular application, what all is required, how many people are required, what will be the timeline to deliver that particular testing for that particular application or software. Okay, so that is all about a test plan and what exactly is a test plan. Now, going through any of the Google templates, you can find there are few things here and there are few sections renamed differently. That doesn't make difference. These are the key sections that you can correlate with any of the test plans available out there. And you can also you might also find some new sections. So if new sections are available there, they might be specific to the projects. Okay, so this is all about the test plan, why you need a test plan, and how it helps you to basically perform the software testing with proper approach and confidence. Now this was more relevant with the waterfall approach, and still even with agile approach, these or quick test planning is done and required, but it is not as detailed, or it is not a phased approach anymore in agile approach. So because agile is sprint by sprint work, which is 2 weeks, so you don't write a test plan in each and every sprint, or you do not write the detailed test plan in each every sprint. You write a plan for a particular release, for example 6 months or so, and then in each and every sprint what you do is you basically write a quick one-pager of the approach or the test approach that you are going to apply for that particular sprint to test those stories, right? Because you don't want to waste too much of your time just documenting the stuff. This plan or the detailed test plan is required for the upfront analysis, or basically for the longer period of duration. So this was very popular in the waterfall or V model approach, but in agile you still write it, but you write it for 6 months, or for at least like 6 months release, which might have like 20 sprints within it. Okay, so that's all for this tutorial on test plan. I hope I was able to clarify the test plan, and this is helpful for you for your actual project work and for the interviews as well. So thank you very much for watching. Please do share and subscribe. Thank you.